there was a video that was trending over the week. We saw Skales, and it was really, really like upset about, you know, something that happened at the airport. But that now brought certain experiences I have had while trying to travel. And I just thought it's something that we need to talk about because Gang and I had an experience some time back, maybe 2 months ago. And it was on it was a weird one. But I wanted to ask you guys, you travel locally and internationally. What has been your worst travel experience?
The first time I ever tried to leave Nigeria. Worst experience ever because, so, I'm a newbie, French kid, first passport, Turkish visa. I didn't know that there are some countries that you cannot fly to if you don't have a transit visa. So imagine my joy, like finally, I mean, my 30s, maybe like 32, 33.
Yeah.
And then I don't buy ticket, bought everything. Okay, I'm going to the airport today. I'm traveling. My wife and her mom dropped me off at the airport. I said bye-bye to them. They left. So I bought the ticket with, let me not mention the airline. I should mention themselves because they're nuisance. But anyways, so I bought the ticket, and then when I got to point of check-in, the guy was like, after scanning my passport, do you have another passport? I'm like, no, that's the only one. You cannot travel today. I'm like, why? He says, oh, because this airline will first stop in this country, and for you to stop in this country, you need this visa. So I first thought it was a joke. First time, maybe like 2 hours later, so after the plane left, because I had to be sure that the plane would leave without
the plane left.
And I'll call them that. I know go.
It don't happen, no.
When I go carry you.
It don't happen.
I think that was one of the longest nights of my life because the next day I had to buy a direct flight ticket. It was.
Oh.
I don't wish it on anybody actually because my body and soul had left Nigeria. You know how?
Yeah, I know, right? Well prepared.
It was terrible.
Okay,
terrible.
so Dek, the question goes to you too. In your experiences traveling out of the country, what has been that moment that you were really, really frustrated?
Well, I mean, in my time of traveling, most of the time, I don't think I've really had a really terrible time like that.
Okay, sorry. Let me make it local then.
Let me make it local. I'll tell you why. It's not. I mean, it's not because it's not rich kid or anything.
There's nothing wrong with being rich.
I mean, the truth.
It's okay.
I mean, they say, just embrace it.
Embrace it.
Okay, amen.
Exactly.
Thank you. But I mean, the thing is, I don't think I've really, had any bad experiences. Maybe ranging from the countries I've been to, But what I would say is when I went to Cape Town, something a bit funny happened to me and all of us who were Nigerians on that particular trip. Yes. So when we got there, when we got to the airport, it wasn't as if it was. I mean, the behavior of the people at the airport wasn't as if it was directed at Nigerians, but we eventually realized that everybody that stayed behind were all Nigerians.
Okay.
So, you're having a conversation with the next person, and the person is telling you, about how far. Now, so when you hear that this person is speaking, I'm like, okay, this is Nigeria. So it was like an indirect profiling, so to speak, because apparently they needed to attend to every other person before attending to us.
That must have really felt bad.
No, for me, I mean, for me, it was my first time in the country. I didn't really think of it as anything much. You understand what I'm saying? I was still busy, admiring their airport and all of that. But at some point, my mind was like, guy, this is my first time in this country. God, don't let them send me back. Okay. But for me, when I got to the lady's stand, she kept acting like she was trying to figure out the visa. I'm like, dude, I was not the one that gave myself the visa. You guys gave me the visa. Why is it taking you so long to verify your own visa? Do you understand what I'm saying? So what's the issue? She kept saying, I'm sorry, but the girl was very beautiful and everything. So I said, it's okay,
So you're distracted. He was distracted.
I'm just kidding.
How many years ago was this?
I mean, this was last year now,
And you still remember how beautiful she was?
Can you think of signs?
I'm just saying.
But I mean, for me, that was the only thing. And I think I was a bit scared this year, last month, when I traveled to the UK. So apparently, there's some countries that you go to. Like you said, when you're traveling and you're doing transit, and maybe when we got to Istanbul, when you are going in from Istanbul to pick up your flight that will take you to London, they literally grill you like you have gotten to the border of the UK.
Yeah.
They will ask you what you are going to do.
in the UK?
I mean, that particular moment was like
no-
literally somebody told me that they can actually ask you and they'll tell you to go back if you don't have the right answers. And I'm like, what's it cause now? Now visa get done. You know, that kind of thing. So for me, that's basically the two experiences that have been.
So you're a bit vague on it, but I understand. Gang, your thoughts on, you know,
You see, now,
flying experiences.
when you fly private,
Yeah.
when you fly
Private, yeah, I get you private,
you
yeah.
avoid this kind of
Embarrassment.
But since I've never flown private,
You have to start from there.
if I give you gist of my first private experience,
I think you told me before.
I was bounced off the plane at the end of the day. It was mad.
Are you
That's
serious?
another story. I'm telling
wow,
you.
that's
Anyway, but my experience, like with you, like we said a couple of months ago, was local, where we had a flight that was scheduled for 12:30 in the afternoon, and we got to Lagos at about 1 a.m.
Yeah, 1 a.m. 1:30 a.m.
1:30 a.m.
Yeah.
Why?
They moved our flight 3 times.
Whoa.
Oh no, that has happened many times.
We ended up taking off.
So, but now that you guys say
Is
that,
it the delay you guys were talking about?
No,
I mean,
no,
delays
no,
apart from
happen
that,
all the time.
no, so now
It's
that
not-
you
it's
say
not-
it, no,
yeah.
now that you say it, I remember there was one time I was going to Lebanon. That was actually my only time of going to Lebanon. And Lebanon is visa-free for Nigerian passport holders, right? And I was traveling from...
Nice one. Let me write it down.
No, it is. It's visa-free.
I want to write
So
it down.
I was going...
Lebanon local.
I was flying from Istanbul to Lebanon.
Yeah.
And I remember, now that you said it, that thing paid me. So when I got to the airport, after all the check-in and all of that, when it was time to board the plane, I think I was like number 2 or number 3 in line. And then the guy looked at my passport. He said, okay, hold on, I'm coming. And he put the passport aside and said, step aside.
Oh, wow.
And he checked everybody in on the plane. I shall know that I've checked in. You people cannot leave without me. So I went to meet him at one point. Like, bro, what's going on? Or like, I need a visa to go to Lebanon. I'm like, no, I don't need a visa to go to Lebanon. Because before I left Lagos, I sent the embassy here a message that, okay, you had
Everything
long
necessary,
email train.
yeah.
And they were like, if you're a Nigerian passport holder, because they can come here free, so you can go there free. The guy was making calls. At some point, I lost it, make an lie. And I'm like, bro, you know what? Okay, I'm not even going again. Give me back my passport. Like, you see all the visas on my passport, and you think I want to escape to
Lebanon.
Lebanon.
Four places.
Lebanon.
So it wasn't even that bad until until I got to Lebanon. Like, this is the country that this one was stressing me for.
And the Lagos is even better than the country.
No jokes, no jokes.
I mean, let me cancel the name again.
No, but is it really that bad?
No, so it's not bad, but Lebanon is like a Dubai that doesn't have money.
Oh,
Nice.
shots taken.
No.
Oh, man.
This is
that would be terrible, man.
This is me being
So
honest.
like, let's say like the local area of Dera Market.
So imagine somebody driving on Okada and saying, I have a bike.
Wow, I get it.
Yeah, you have a bike, but in the world of
You don't have a
bikes,
bike,
you
my
have a
brother.
bike.
You don't have a bike, my brother. Okada lonely. That's it, man.
Lebanon, when you
Interesting
enter
stuff.
taxi, you have to pay extra for them.
But
to put on AC.
let's bring it to the,
What?
you know.
You have to pay extra in any taxi in Lebanon for them to put on the AC.
That's Ibadan Pro Max.
So,
yeah.
But no, but I think
all
part
right.
of the
So
major...
let's come down to the home front.
Yeah.
And let's talk about experiences. Yeah, I have had several very bad experiences traveling.
I just buy
within,
another ticket.
within
Once it
Nigeria.
gets to that point, I just buy another
Within
ticket.
Nigeria.
Because I
The
know
problem I have here on the home front is that we hear a lot of things that the aviation sector says in terms of if your flights are delayed for this period of time, you should be entitled to this, either a meal, either accommodation, either some transport. And those things, we don't really see it happen.
Yeah,
like
we
No,
don't
this.
because
say,
people don't
yeah.
claim them, though.
Claim them.
But yeah, most likely people don't claim
People
them.
don't claim them.
No,
Because
so hold on.
Nigerians don't have time to start fall. You're trying to travel. The least of my worries is compensation of feeding me. I want to get from point A to point B.
yeah.
And the problem is communication. Sometimes they don't communicate with the travelers. They don't say the things they should, how they should. Lucky for us, our trip, we kept on getting text messages and emails.
Yes.
Say your flight has been moved from this time
exactly.
to this
Yes.
time to this time.
And at the
to
point,
this
Dek
time.
and I actually slept. We were at the terminal,
Yeah.
and then we slept on the bench. Yeah, because we just got tired.
Gang and you.
Gang and I, yeah.
You said deck.
Oh my God. Dek, what's going on?
This your deck relationship.
Oh my God!
What's going on?
Is there something there?
So the thing is this, right?
Is there
I mean,
something
I
there?
totally get what you're saying about the delays. I mean, if we're talking about local flights, I mean, I take a lot of local flights. I mean, you know this because of the kind of work that I do. for me, I never trust local flights. Never. I don't. So let me tell you how it works for me. I used to have a float ticket. Yes. Because of my work.
Used to?
I used to.
Or do you
so
still, do you still
so I
have one?
stopped. I stopped last year.
Okay.
But usually I always have like a floating ticket.
Okay.
Just in the
Like
case
an
that
opened up,
just in the case that anything happens to my flight and I need to catch up quickly, I'll just hop on that particular ticket and I'll move.
So you're
Yes.
probably one of the reasons why.
No. Let me tell you why.
why.
I watched an interview on TV of Sir Allen Oyema, right? And he talked about reasons why they delay flights in Nigeria. There are different layers of problems that leads them to
Aviation
delay
sector,
flights
yeah.
in Nigeria. You will be. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but
It's a black table.
shocking.
You're allowed
I mean,
to
it
say
would be
anything.
shocking to realize that most of these airlines are not the causes of these delays. Would you believe that?
Oh, why do you say
Yes,
that?
and I'll tell you why. Do you know that we have several bodies in charge of approval for flights? Because many of these people would say, okay, so take for instance, one body is saying that your flight is approved to go. The other says no. We have just
really?
gotten, what? The weather is bad. You can't take people. You can't do
if the
this.
weather is bad, you shouldn't be traveling.
But that's the thing.
Yeah.
You are trying to get an appointment
That weather
in
thing-
Abuja.
so
Do you
that weather
understand?
thing, I don't believe
You
it
won't think
anymore.
about the weather stuff. Do you understand? But the only time that weather will now come to play is, God forbid, anything happens. Then a lot of people are going to get into trouble.
that weather thing, I don't
but
believe it
what do you
anymore.
think the system should put in place in terms of
Compensation.
So
compensation?
the minister of aviation came out, I think, sometime earlier in the year, thereabouts, and spoke about compensations. That every customer or airline customer must be treated to compensation in the issue of delays or cancellations or what have you. But unfortunately, these airlines are even, I mean, they are claiming to give out the flights at ridiculously low prices. How in the world do you expect that somebody who is already running at a loss will pay compensations, especially when the airline is not at fault?
Okay.
So the argument right now lays on the table of the government and on the table of this
Regulatory
airline.
agencies, yeah.
These people to come together and say, okay, you know what, we have to be realistic.
Okay.
Most of the times, we're not even the ones causing the delays. Most of the time. So what are we going to do? We have to,
I
have
think
a
a bit
point
more
where we can.
transparency would
Yeah,
have really
so a lot of
helped with the
see,
situation.
most of this thing is transparency. If we can be transparent and we can love our people, we'll do the right thing. If people can do the right thing, that's it.
How do you compensate somebody that is going to miss an event, miss a concert, miss a wedding?
What do you want to pay? Do you want
How
to
do
pay
you want
the
to
person back
compensate that
for the
person?
job?
So I think with a bit more efforts in terms of putting the right system in place,
That's the
a lot
thing.
of things can be mitigated.
That's
a lot of
why I
things
said
can be,
if people do the right thing,
controlled.
a lot of things will be corrected. Allen Oyema said something that day, and I held on to it. He said, one flight cancellation has destroyed the entire
Of course, yeah.
arrangement of that year.
Yeah.
One flight cancellation of one flight moved has destroyed the arrangement of all other flight itinerary for the entire year, which makes sense. Because if you have put a flight, the same flight who is supposed to go to Abuja and come back to Lagos to pick customers that has delayed for 3 hours, it has destroyed everything now. Do you understand what I'm saying? So what they do now is they just augment, add an extra aircraft that would, help, So, I mean, these guys are doing a whole lot. So, it behoves on our government to help these people do better. So, I just feel like if people do what they are supposed to do, if people do their jobs the way they are supposed to do their jobs, it will get better. That's just it. There's no rocket
All right,
science.
on that.